Ой, у лузі червона калина похилилася.
Hey, Wednesday, August 16th, 2023. I'm making a video on the promenade here in near the Lviv Opera House. So I will pause and flip the camera because I have to change the sound settings, and I'll give you a walkthrough view. Okay, yesterday, you know, I had to, like I said, it's my beef with the GoPro that with this media mod, this sound doesn't follow you around, but I have the Rode microphone system coming in where I wear it, and that way it doesn't matter where the camera is going. I'll wear a lapel mic, and then I'll be able to have less interruption on the videos. But this is like the promenade in front of the Opera House where I'm at. If you look at a map on Lviv and look at the Opera House, there's like 2 streets, you know, surrounding this and everything. And this is like a big hangout spot, especially on the weekends. So last night we had a rocket attack. I heard 6 explosions. I heard 2 and then 3 and then 1, or I think it was 3 and 2 and 1, something like that. But they were in like there were 2 groupings and then one sole explosion. And I'm not sure if those were interceptions. I know there was some impacts around here. You know, there was some loss of life. I know in Lutz and Lviv we had a lot of injuries. I'm not sure, the information is changing all the time, but that's the latest I have. So it's yeah, it shakes you up a bit. I mean, it's been like 6 weeks since the last one. So I'm not sure. We really need some, well, I'm sure we need some air defense. You know, that's without a given, but we need to have domestically developed air defense. We don't have the Israelis are not willing to give up the Iron Dome. That would actually be the solution for this. I mean, this is exactly the same problem they have. They have all these rockets coming at them, and they've developed this Patriot system on steroids. Basically, Iron Dome was born out of the Patriot missile system, and then Israeli engineering beefed it up. I'm not sure, you know, what it's all about. It's probably microchips, and then the rocket motors have to ignite fast. So they have you know, because you know, there's like a delay when you do ignition on a rocket. So I imagine they've got it to where the rocket motors can, you know, just fire up and take right off. You know, it's like they don't need to be warmed up or anything like that. And then I imagine the processing power, and that's only going to anyway get faster, you know, to calculate the course of the incoming missile, and then send a counter missile on the same trajectory. But as I understand, some of these cruise missiles, they can change direction, they can make turns and everything. So I don't know, we need to yeah, we definitely need to develop something, because if the arms are not coming in, or you know, the people are finding excuses not to send weapons because they don't want to upset the Russians. I know Israel has a lot of stuff going on. I was reading about this going on in Syria, and they're getting cooperation with the Russians, you know, to go in there and, you know, hit the Hamas people, that the Russians will turn off their air defenses or stand down so that the Israelis can go do their thing, because they're both operating in Syria. So it's, you know, that's at least what they say. They also are saying that they don't want this technology to fall into Russian hands. And I mean, there is that is a legitimate concern. I mean, we've had a lot of Russian infiltration here in Ukraine, and I mean, there is corruption in the system here, and that is a really sensitive technology. So I think the only way forward is that Ukrainian electrical engineers, IT engineers, mechanical engineers are going to have to make this their class project to develop a system like this that can, you know, the radar can, you know, get the incoming vector, and then they can do an intercept. It's on paper it's easy. I think in reality, to build something like this, it's quite hard. You know, like saying I'm going to go to the moon or go to Mars. It's easy to say it, right? you know, we send a rocket over there and we understand in general what we got to do, and we got to build a colony, but actually executing and getting all those technologies to work together in a reliable, you know, 99 3/9% reliable way, so that there's only one failure in a million, you know, in a million tries. That's hard. That's hard. I mean, I think, like I say, figuratively, we understand what we have to do. But yeah, in Ukraine, they had this scandal, like there's these guys, you know, recruiting on the street, right? They're conscripting people to the army. And apparently they were taking payoffs and what have you. Obviously, you know, people are scared. I don't blame them. This is not going to Iraq or going to Afghanistan, you know, where the U.S. has all the firepower and what have you. I mean, that was dangerous. Even when the U.S. was completely dominating the battle space, that was dangerous. But this is different. This is World War I. You know, this is artillery barrages, and without air, you know, without the air support, you know, the artillery starts to win. You know, artillery becomes like a major factor. Usually, air support can negate artillery. You know, you can, from a plane, you can drop a 500-pound JDAM on all the positions, and you can do it very safely. They don't have this luxury here, and so these guys are stepping on mines. They're getting hit with shrapnel, and I mean, I'm seeing it every day. You know, seeing people who've had amputations done. It's just all over. You can't help not see it. So you can't blame people for being scared. I mean, it's a meat grinder out there. But I suppose the Ukrainian military, like any other democratic government, is more prone to corruption and more prone to, you know, because of the freedom. Because of the freedom, it can allow, you know, more of this can happen. So it's something they just have to work through. You know, what else is going on in Lviv? Yeah, this has been a good summer. It's been fairly mild. It's been up around 28, 30 centigrade, around 90s, high 80s, low 90s Fahrenheit. This summer, we've had a lot of problems with the water. You know, the water pressure has been very problematic, and I don't know if that's still past damage from a strike. We have a journalist here. Yeah, another one. I'm just a blogger. But yeah, this is the Lviv Opera House. So yeah, I just wanted to show you around. So yeah, it's something I'm looking into. I'm going to get the filter changed. You know, the filter sometimes can stop up water pressure, but I think there's more to it. I think what we need to do is get together as a city, as people here, and start pressing for better water infrastructure. That's always been a problem in Ukraine because they don't collect enough taxes here. You know, the tax rates are very low, and you can't build good infrastructure without a tax base. Like you go in Norway, you know, the water coming out of the tap, it's not even an exaggeration. It's cleaner than Evian. It's like 6 parts per million, and I tested Evian, and Evian was like 13 parts per million of stuff in there. But Evian might argue that they have some minerals in the water or something that are good for you. But you can't even filter Norwegian water. It's so clean. I mean, the filters will make it dirty. You know, so to get there, to get to that level of drinking water, you need a tax base. But what does that do? It gives you less health problems. It keeps your skin clean and puts less of a burden on the medical system, you know, so which is also socialized. So yeah, you see a lot of people taking pictures. Ukrainians like to take pictures of themselves. That was like a big shock when I moved here, because like when you live in Norway and America, there's this like modesty culture, and but here you can be beautiful, you know. But yeah, this is our opera house here. There's some dude here trying to push the building. This is the Panorama Hotel. This was actually the very first place I ever stayed when I came to Lviv long back. You know, so yeah. So I think the sun is not the right way to go back down here, but yeah, life is moving on. You know, I think the challenge now is for Ukraine to do domestic weapons production. They did a pretty good job with the drones, and they're able to reach Moscow. But like I said, I think the Russians know that Ukraine would never target like a civilian populated center, that's full of civilians. Are hitting these places at night and trying to keep the casualties to a minimum. And when the Russians hit us yesterday, they managed to hit a kindergarten playground and make a 9-foot crater, I guess just to make sure the kids wouldn't have anywhere to play. And they're aiming for children, and they're aiming for residential apartment complexes at night when they know they're full of people. It's and I read some stupid comments like, yeah, the US was in Iraq and did this and did that. The intentions of America were good at the time. I mean, I have to admit, I didn't like the Iraq second war. I also thought there was some false pretenses there, but this is different. Russia blatantly invaded a sovereign country that didn't want them, and now Western civilization is being tested. And like I said, if we let Ukraine go, everything else, the Russians start getting, already the Africans are, half of Africa is eating out of Russia's hand. This would be a great loss of resources for the Western countries, both human resources, commodity resources, manufacturing capacity, you name it. It would be so there is no choice in this matter. In Iraq, yeah, I agree, we had a choice and we did the wrong choice. I'm just responding to some of the comments in the last video, but this is different. And I'm not biased just because I live here or something. I mean, this is really good versus evil. I mean, everything the Russians touch, the North Koreans touch, the Iranians touch, they just turn it into crap. The human rights and allowing people self-expression, creativity, being different or whatever. It's they try to squash that out. They try to eliminate that. And so what they're fighting for here is people's right to have a choice in their life, but they're also probably fighting, that they now want to align with the European way of life, which, anyone who's lived in a former Soviet country, you can go to Poland or something, they can tell you this is much better. Only maybe some 80-year-olds who had some high position in the Soviet Union would tell you that otherwise. But you ask anyone who's like 40s, who grew up in both 40 or more, between 40 and 60, who grew up in both societies, or even 35. I think they're old enough to remember how it was. They would have been just 9 or 10 years old. They would have had some memories of the Soviet times, and all that. This is better. This is much better, but you got to fight for it, and we all got to take part in this, and we got to support our allies. Because as I was saying in my previous videos, you can't just build a wall around yourself and shut out the world, because they will come to your wall and then they will choke your supplies and they will catapult manure inside your castle walls and spread disease. So you have to be proactive, and you have to go out in the world and start hammering your opposition before they get to you. Really, it's really that way now. But anyway, that's all I got. I hope you all have a nice day and take care. Bye-bye.